Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thanks everybody for signing on today and registering for the second ever ChemResponder Nationwide Drill. This session is the pre-drill webinar. We'll give some explanation and expectation setting for how next week will go when we do the drill execution. I'll start first with just some introductions. My name is Sean Dooling. I'm a project manager with Chainbridge Technologies, which is the contractor that works with an interagency group to develop and steward the CBRN responder network. The FEMA CBRN office is the primary sponsor for ChemResponder. I'm going to let Dante Steller, who's the program manager from FEMA, introduce himself. Dante?
Thanks, Sean. Can you hear me?
Gotcha. Good comms. Yep.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, everyone, for joining this pre-drill webinar for our second nationwide drill. Sean will be leading us through the webinar. Want to thank everybody for joining and for taking part in next week's drill. We learned a lot from the first one. This time around, we're going to do a multi-day event, as Sean will get into, and base the tasks off of the skill level of the user so that everyone gets utility out of the drill and no one becomes overwhelmed with maybe some more advanced tasks if you're just a beginner user. So Sean will get into that during the webinar. Again, thanks everybody for joining, and I'll turn it back over to Sean to take us through. Thanks, Sean.
Excellent. Thanks, Dante. So I first want to make sure everybody is aware of where the registration link is for the drill execution. Presumably you found this tile on the website, given that you're here on the pre-drill webinar, where we also have the registration link. But just in case you haven't yet registered for drill execution, again, it's on the home page at the bottom there where it says Nationwide Drill Execution. So that's where you can register for the webinar to make sure that pops onto your calendar and you don't miss it for next week. I'll give some guidance here and then walk through some of what I'll touch on here in a bit more detail. But like Dante stated a moment ago, this drill is going to occur over a multi-day period. So that first bullet describes how this will occur over a 4-day period with a hot wash on the 5th day to discuss feedback and lessons learned from the drill. Each day's drill activities will be organized into 3 tiers, a beginner, intermediate, and advanced tier. And players will opt into whichever tier they feel most comfortable completing. Each day's drill activities will be emailed to registrants by 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So again, just to drive that home, based on feedback we had from the first nationwide drill we conducted back in December, we had some folks who felt like they were a bit overwhelmed with some of the tasks. And so we're taking a scaffolded approach this time, where again, you can decide which tier of proficiency you're most comfortable interacting with. So that'll be pretty clear and straightforward when you see the actual drill guidance, the drill activities. Again, that will be sent to everybody every day by 9 a.m. ET. Again, you can opt into whichever tier you want to engage with. Third bullet there, each day's drill facilitation session will provide a tutorial on the critical skills for that day and a recap of the previous day's activities. So Monday's session will be no more than 1 hour. The Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday sessions will be no more than a half hour, and the Friday session will be no more than 45 minutes. So we're cognizant that this time around, it is a little bit more, we're asking for a bit more in terms of your time throughout the week. Obviously, it's a multi-day event this time with sessions over that the course of those 5 days. So we're going to try and be, very respectful of your time. Obviously, be succinct and direct in the facilitation. Make sure we're being thorough in answering your questions, but not monopolizing your calendars. I will say that if you feel like you can't participate in every day, and maybe you're able to do Monday, Tuesday, but you have to miss on Wednesday and you can jump back in Thursday, that should be fine. So in other words, it's not going to sort of disqualify you from the drill if you do have to miss a day or two. So I don't want anybody to feel like if they miss like a Tuesday or a Wednesday session that they but can't continue to participate, we'll still email everybody all the activities each day, so you still get those, and you can complete those kind of on your own time as you're able, even if you do miss one of the sessions. Another thing that I realized I didn't add on here, we will be recording each of these sessions. So for each of those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sessions, we will record those. They'll be uploaded to our YouTube page. We'll also provide links in the resource library folder that I'm going to talk more about in a couple slides. So if you do have to miss the live session, those will be recorded and available for you. And again, I'll be disseminating that information each drill day. Fourth point there, again, touched on this a bit already, but you're going to be working on your own time and your own pace throughout each drill day. So after we provide the activities that morning, after we've conducted the live tutorial session and provided some kind of scenario setting, you will be able to just work at your own pace and time throughout the day. Our facilitator, well, myself and the rest of my team will sort of be on call throughout this week to take questions and offer guidance as you all execute the activities each drill day. So obviously I'll be, paying acute attention to our support email, but that support email goes to my entire team. So we'll have multiple folks who are keeping an eye on things to make sure you're getting timely responses to any questions that you might have as you go through the activities. So the table here is just showing the drill week schedule, just to make this a little bit clearer for folks, hopefully. So again, there's activities going on each day of the week, Monday through Friday next week. So the top row here, again, these are when the group sessions, these tutorials will be occurring. So we'll get underway on Monday at 11 a.m. Again, my intention is to make that no more than an hour here. We'll explain the objectives, the schedule, and some notes about the drill facilitation. I'll then give a brief tutorial on the skills that will be involved for that day. Things that you'll actually be expected to do in ChemResponder based on the activity set that you're getting for day one. And again, we'll send the activity set out each day, no later than 9 a.m. Eastern time. So you get that via email. So and then again, as you can see here, I'm just kind of trying to illustrate how for each day, again, there are 3 tiers of activities, and you will opt into whichever tier you want to opt into. So if you only feel comfortable interacting with the beginner tier, you can do that. If you feel pretty confident after completing those, you'll have the intermediate set at your disposal, and you can try and tackle that. And of course, really proficient users can move on to the advanced tier as you deem appropriate. Day 2, 3, and 4, will occur the same fundamental way. So we'll recap the activities from the previous day. I'll provide a tutorial for that day's activities, and make sure you feel set up for success to interact with that day's tasks. And then on Friday, we'll have our closeout session. We'll talk about feedback you all have, lessons learned. These nationwide drills are really a nice focused forum for us to get some specific feedback on functionality, pain points that users had when they were interacting with the interface. So we're really going to appreciate any feedback that you all might have come Friday when we have our closeout session. I mentioned resources, so we do have a resource folder that's already been created in the ChemResponder resource library. So I'm supplying the link here. Information that's specific to each drill day will be uploaded here. So there's going to be a folder for each day. Those folders, they're already created. So if you wanted to go in there, right now they just contain job aids. They don't contain the actual drill activities. Again, those drill activities are going to be emailed to you. But after they're emailed, they'll also be throwing them up here into the folder. So again, these daily folders will have the activity set, the job aids pertaining to those days' skills, and links to the recorded tutorial sessions, the live sessions we do each day. I'll pop the links to the YouTube page in those folders as well. So the intention here, obviously, is that this resource folder here is going to be the kind of go-to resource set for you. Everything that you should need should be available for you in this resource library folder. So with that, I'll touch a little bit on the drill scenario. So our scenario is a 4-day music festival that is occurring in your jurisdiction. And the festival consists of 3 concert areas that are adjacent to a middle school where Incident Command will be headquartered. And you have partnered with other agencies to monitor the event for hazards. You are using ChemResponder to share real-time information with your partner agencies. So we decided to do a scenario like this, for one, based on the fact that we've had a lot of end user organizations that have used ChemResponder and CBurn Responder more broadly for different types of monitoring activities. Obviously, as you all probably know, this is of course a no-cost platform, so any organization with equities in CBurn response or monitoring, they can create organizations, they can use it to share data with one another. So for scenarios where there's a JHAT, Joint Hazards Assessment team, that's doing monitoring over some period, they really, we see the oftentimes like to use CBurn Responder because again, each of the agencies involved, police, fire, the CSTs there, et cetera, or their DoD components are playing. They're all often bringing different tools, different capabilities to the table, which can make it challenging to share data. But with CBurn Responder, some of those sharing gaps are closed if they leverage this tool for events like that. So again, based on the fact that we've seen a lot of real world instances of this, we thought it might make for a nice drill scenario, expose you all to functionalities that we've, again, actually seen folks use in real world contexts. A bit on the roles that you'll want to have for the drill. So at the top there, in terms of your preferred organization role, it's preferred that players have the event creator role for the drill. However, facilitators can temporarily grant event creator on day 1, so you can initiate a ChemResponder event if you don't already have the role. So just shoot us an email, support@chemresponder.net on day 1 to request event creator if you don't have it. Our team can then grant you the event creator role. You can create your event that you'll use for the duration of the drill. So you'll only need to create one event up front on day 1 on Monday. So that should be a one-time thing. So once you've got your event created, you should be good to go with that piece. In terms of what's needed at the event level, you will need event manager, but if you create the event yourself, you will automatically have that event manager role. So that will be a non-issue for you after you create the event. So creating the event is, again, it's part of the day 1 activities. It's what's really the first task you'll do. So once you've got that event created, again, you should have the roles, the event manager role, namely, that you need at the event level. Again, just hitting this one more time to make sure folks do register for next week. So throwing the link back up there one more time. Again, this is available on the ChemResponder homepage, chemresponder.net. Before signing in, you go to the bottom tile there on the right side of the page, and the registration link is available for you. So that's the end of our pre-drill webinar. I'm definitely happy to stay on and answer questions as they come up. I'm throwing our support email address again up there one more time, support@chemresponder.net. Also on the website, there's a contact tab there. If you want to use that form to send us a question, we'll get back to you quickly. But again, if you have questions, throw them in the question box or use the raise hand function, and I can bring you off mute. We can have some dialogue. So I'll hang on the line if there are any questions. But otherwise, again, very much appreciate your time and your engagement. We really look forward to next week and getting to participate in the drill with you all. Oh, Marcy, yeah, I should have mentioned that. Yes, so these slides are already uploaded to that resource library folder. I will also email them out to everybody in the wake of this, everybody that's registered for the pre-drill here. So I'll make sure these get to you all. And again, they are already up in the resource library. I'll just show that page here quickly as well. So if you come into, wait for that to load here. So if you come into ChemResponder.net and you come to the resource library dropdown, you'll see here on the home page for the resources, there's a ChemResponder Nationwide Drill folder right here for you. So I'll click that guy. And the pre-drill slides are here. But again, here are the daily folders for the drill that I referenced earlier as well. Alex has a question, should we create only one event per day? We have 2 hazmat teams about 25 miles apart. So actually, to be clear, you will create one event that you'll be using throughout the week, if that makes sense. So the idea is that you're not creating fresh events each drill day. You'll just return to that same event to continue with your monitoring drill. If you're going to have 2 hazmat teams playing, Alex, I mean, I'm going to say that that's kind of up to you in terms of whether you want to have 2 separate events for those 2 teams, or you want to use a singular event. So we can have some more offline dialogue if you want to reach out. I'm happy to discuss that further. You know, you could make sort of a game time decision as well, but I would say that kind of depends on how you want to handle that. Ben asked a question, will each person need their own event or one per org? Good question. So again, I'm going to say that's pretty much at your discretion. The advantage of having each person do their own event, I mean, they would just get more exposure to like the event management activities, you know, creating field teams, adding GIS files, that sort of event manager type stuff. So if you want everybody involved in your drill to get exposure to those things, then could be a good idea to just have everybody do their own event. If you've got folks though who you know will only they'll only ever need to really collect data and view data, then you can just have them all in a singular event, and just a couple of folks doing the event management side and everyone else doing more the data collector tasks. Yeah, part of the challenge, should we, oh, another good question from Alex, from Alexander Adams. So he asked, should we start looking for a layout similar to the scenario you mentioned, example of school? Great question. So I'm actually going to be providing a lat long for you in the drill activities, the drill guidance. And I'm going to ask that you center your event at the lat long, that the event center I'm providing. That speaks to what I was going to elaborate on here, which is that part of the challenge with these nationwide drills, obviously, is we have folks participating from all over the country. So we've toyed with that before. Do we let people pick their own event centers, or do we, for the sake of helping with the facilitation and clarity of things, provide everybody a common event center? In this case, part of what we're doing is we're going to be providing you actually some GIS files. To give you, a sneak preview here, one of those GIS files is actually going to come from the IMAC program, which is a program out of Dante's office at FEMA-CBRA and the Interagency Modeling and Atmospheric Assessment Center. It's a federal asset that's available for state and local organizations. They provide modeling services at request for events or for emergency response exercises. So in order to, get everybody on the same page, looking at the same things in the same space, it became necessary, I realized, for us to all be working from a common event center. So that will be provided for you along with the GIS products that I'll be asking you to display during the event. So correct. So it's not going to be something that's in your backyard at your physical geographic location. It's going to be, we're going to provide the event center. Another good question from Alex. So Alex is asking, should we have already entered monitoring equipment in our inventory? So short answer is it is not necessary to do so. It is certainly a best practice, and if you have it in there, I would say you'd benefit more from the drill. But this is actually something that I did ask folks to do as a prerequisite for the first nationwide drill. But some folks found it a bit challenging, particularly because we had some folks who were either brand new to ChemResponder, or frankly, they just didn't work with detection equipment that often. And so they weren't really sure what to do or how to set that up and add instruments. So, folks that, mainly work on, they might just do like GIS management or something. So they just didn't have that exposure and background. So for this one, I decided to not have that as a prerequisite. But again, I would say that it would benefit you and your organization. I think you'd get a bit more out of things if you're able to add equipment ahead of time. So if you need guidance on that, let me know. Yeah, another good question here. Should we view any webinars prior to the drill? So yeah, if you're looking to just like for things to brush up on, one thing I would start that you could start to do is take a look at the job aid folders, the daily or these daily folders that are in the drill folder in the resource library. So you're showing it on screen here. So I'll just look into day one folder here. And you could start by just taking a look through these job aids as a place to begin. These are all Word documents, so you can just flip through the written guidance here. I don't have like links to webinars here, but obviously if you want to brush up on field team management, you can come back here to the video section and do a quick search for what we've got in terms of field teams. I think we have a webinar here. Yeah. So there's a webinar here for field and standing teams. So in other words, based on the topics that you're seeing, we're going to be tackling here. Based on the topics that you're seeing, we're going to be tackling for each drill day. If you want to also do a quick search for what's available in terms of videos and webinar guidance, that'd be a good resource for you. All right, folks. I think no more questions look like they're trickling in, so I'll close it down there. Again, I'll email out this slide deck I presented here. Again, it's already available in the resource library. And again, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to seeing you all again next week. In the interim, reach out, support@chemresponder.net if you have questions. Thanks again.